Let me demonstrate you something here. What I did this morning. And yeah, I mean, if you do have if you're not certain what the war on Ukraine and annihilation of Palestine is all about, I'm going to demonstrate you this thing here. Her name is
Staatsräson.
Sahra,
Noch nie hat ein deutscher Bundeskanzler.
And Sahra is like not really German. Sahra became Sahra. She was very much involved in MK Ultra, and Germans do give a lot on the way people look and the way people, their family members and stuff like that, and that's how, you know, you get involved in a politic, and that's, you know, you become interesting, potentially promising for a German government. Anyhow, she was a frequent visitor of one of the visitors. There were so many visitors of also here in Slovenia, in Novo Mesto, in our house where Illuminatis gathered. Frequent visitor. I mean, she visited. Let's just put it this way. She was involved in MK Ultra. Now let me demonstrate you something. She is extremely pro-Iranian. And you can hear her talk about, I would say, rather important issues. What is she saying here? Okay. Legal, illegal, it doesn't matter. Let's see this, if I can get this. Germany bases, US using its military bases in Germany for attacks against Iran. She is very against Friedrich Merz. That's a German chancellor, however, who is heavily supporting Ukraine. Well, I mean heavily supporting. I don't know if it's heavily or it's heavenly. He is supporting Ukraine. Anything else, I would say, I would be in trouble. Okay? So, she is exposing German government. And so what I wanted to do is, because Sahra Wageknecht typically is extremely anti-Ukrainian. She opposes German military aid to Ukraine, advocates instead a peace talks with Vladimir Putin. So, that's a Sahra Wageknecht. What I did was I just wrote her a comment here, and I addressed her to her name, Sahra Wageknecht. You, Sahra Wageknecht, you are working with Friedrich Merz just as he works with you. Oh, basically, I did not mention here Friedrich Merz. All he had to do is step aside and give you a chair now. And 1999 Moscow bombing, 9/11 contract is fulfilled. What I did was I gave her This. That's what I gave her. Huh. Well, open image in a new tab, and so I was hoping that this would display, the whole thing, so that she would exactly understood what exactly I mean by this. Because again, if you see this thing here, you cannot say that you don't understand what exactly I mean by 1999 apartment Moscow bombing or September 11, 2001, both of which were done in September. You can't say, oh, I didn't know, I don't know, I don't understand. Yeah, you understand. You very much understand. We do understand each other. Why I left her this comment, yeah? America, Britain, Israel, Mid-East interests, oil, Palestine, for Ukrainian Donetsk, Crimea. You are Merz, and Merz is you, Wageknecht. Before World War II, it was known as a Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. And like I said here, all he had to do is step aside and give you a chair. And 1999 Moscow bombing, 9/11 contract is fulfilled. That's all there is. She is strongly opposing bombing of Iran, which I agree with her. She's also strongly opposing Ukraine, existence of Ukraine. You know, folks, if the truth is only partial, because they want to divide and conquer us. That's how they do this stuff. If it's only partial, it does more damage, far more damage, than if it would have been a lie, or if nobody, or even if there would be nobody out there who would mention any of this stuff. It's more damaging, it's deadlier than anything out there. This kind of truth, however, is the truth that they enforced, just as I exposed on my blog, since 1976. 1976, and might have been even before. Who knows? Americans and Russians, together with the Germans and with the Britons, with the British, they always search for the ways to work together. That means they always search for the ways that would justify New World Order agenda. They always search for the ways that would justify wars, is what I'm trying to say. That's how they work together. They work together when there is a bloodshed, when there is wars. That's how they work together. That means to work together when it comes to America, Russia, Britain. You know, this basically means to work together. Now, before, Russia was much stronger because Russia was basically a Soviet Union. Entire Eastern Europe was covered by the Russia. They were owners of entire Eastern Europe. So you can imagine how much they needed Russians to do absolutely anything. And this is one of the traits that, you know, they were always looking for the contracts. They were always fulfilling their legacy. That basically is a New World Order legacy through contracts. And 9/11, Twin Towers bombing, World Trade Center bombing that took place on September 11 in 2001 was just one of those contracts which these people have obligated themselves to work with together since the World War II. Before the World War II, and that's how the Poland was destroyed, Germans and Russians even, well, aka Soviet Union, they even threw the contract together that was known as Molotov-Ribbentrop. So all Friedrich Merz had to do is basically step aside, or I should say give her a chair, and that's all that it takes. I'm not going to comment. Yeah, there was other stuff that I posted her, but this is just something. I don't know what that means, technical difficulties and stuff. Yeah, you can just hear her talk about that stuff, and I'm grateful to her that she did not deleted me this stuff. This is rather kind of her. I told her here in continuation, you are meeting together with Merz inside of our house, not only with Americans, but also with the Russians, Putin specifically. You, yes, you, Wageknecht, together with Merz in Slovenian Novo Mesto. All you do is look at yourself in the mirror, that's all. That I gave her the comment. And I gave her other comments, but yeah, those comments were not even nearly as effective as this here. I started with this comment here, which goes into details, as I explain her. Yeah, I mean, the lady is...
Damit Israel ein souveränes Land angegriffen. Wieder beginnt ein völkerrechtswidriger Krieg. Wieder fließt Blut. Unschuldige Menschen erleiden Schmerzen, Angst und...
Don't understand me wrong. I support no military act against Iran. I do support that. I am on this page here. I totally agree with her. You have to understand me. But then there is that other portion of the truth. And this is the same shit as the people that advocate the war on, well, that would be Merz, right? Defending Ukraine, liberation of Ukraine, and advocate the war on Iran. So basically we have two polarized, I should say, sides. And all they had to do is basically, when the public opinion shifts, all they had to do is basically switch chairs. That's why it's so important, this video. That's why I did this stuff. That's why I exposed this stuff. Because this is the truth that you no longer can hide. No matter what you try to do, you cannot hide this truth. Now the truth is out. I am the truth. You were never, the politicians, the royals, they were never afraid. A single individual in the history of the humankind as they were afraid of me. There is no doubt about why these people are so paranoid and afraid of me. Why this kind of stuff? Why did they treat it like this? Look, there it is. It's just, the comment that I gave her is just a longer version of what I told you a little earlier. All you had to do is basically change the chair with Merz. You take his chair and he'll take your chair, and we can continue to watch this war raging across the world. That's all you gotta do. She's a very nice lady, good looking lady, very nice, blah 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 blah. But when it comes to the truth, you cannot replicate the truth. And if the truth is not entirely the truth and nothing else than true, it does much more damage than anything else. It does enormous damage. Just give the people fucking truth. Tell the whole thing. It's good that you advocate Iran. As you know, I advocate Iran. I really advocate Iran. I advocate women and children that are slaughtered in Gaza. And they're being slaughtered already since 2023 for 3 years. And in fact, they're being used not as hostages. I'm talking about the Palestinian people located on the West Bank and inside of the Gaza, the remaining Palestinian people, after they already have undergone mass genocide extermination procedure. They've been used not as hostages. They've been used by the Israelis who agreed to a peace deal. They've been used for the Jews to use them as light targets, for the Jews to practice shooting, bombs, killing like a live, like a livestock. You fucking use them. It's like a fucking concentration camp on open, where you as a Jew are allowed actually to shoot, like go out there and fucking take them out. Women, children, civilians. It's not about the women, children only. It's also about the men, grown up, old, whatever it is, or ready for work. That's what the fuck you do. And by no means can I possibly agree to that type of stuff. That's why I advocated Iran. That's why I advocated Iran. I don't advocate Iranian what was interpreted as attempts to attack Israel. Iran had no fucking means to attack Israel. Israel has, I don't even know how many nuclear warheads, nuclear bombs. They have fighter jets, they have the most advanced technology, military technology and everything. But you are literally using women and children inside of the Gaza, inside of the concentration camp which you Jews created, to drive Irani people, Muslim people in general, to drive them insane. After British, I hear you British, that you got nothing to do with it. And who was the one who brought Jews to Israel? Who was the one who, under the British mandate, you delivered Jews en masse and populated Palestine with Jews? Who was it? It was not you, British, that you did this? You did this. Your British royals decided about these things. You actively did this. And you did this for purposes of colonialism. And colonialism doesn't start with colonialism when it comes to you British and Americans and Germans. It goes beyond. It left Libya after Muammar Gaddafi. It left Iraq after intervention, the full-scale war against Iraqi people. It left Afghanistan after military campaign. It left Syria completely burned out. Even poorer than when Assad or Saddam Hussein, or you want to call that Al-Qaeda, whatever, or Muammar Gaddafi ruled those countries. It went beyond colonialism because you did not even take any fucking initiative to restore the law and order through job placements, universities. Basically, you did not even try to improve general wealth. You did not even give any efforts to change the situation for better for these people. But you degraded, you aggravated, you made things 1,000 times worse when before those dictators were in those countries. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. You actually demanded and enforced massacre between the same people in the same country through your military, as you call them, interventions in the Middle East. This is the truth. This is the truth. And the world needs to go by the truth. It's nothing wrong that you intervened in those countries, but what's wrong is that you left them for dead and you let them rule, govern by the mob, so that a son of Muammar Gaddafi could return back. And Russia would benefit from within. That's exactly what you negotiated inside of our house. You did this shit in exactly the same way in other parts of the world. Like I said, Afghanistan, Iraq, and so on. So, in Syria, as it was evident in Syria, people were able to choose whether they want to be killed by the Russian or American bombs. You are very deep. You're very deep with Russians. Your Ribbentrop-Molotov never stopped. It expanded from what used to be a German-American agreement, a German-Russian agreement, or Soviet, if you like, agreement before the World War II. It expanded on American, British, NATO agreement with Russia, with a post-Soviet Russia. It never stopped to exist. United States of America replaced neo-Nazi Germany. And the world needs to understand that what you have gone, what you're doing, has nothing to do with any kind of justice, human rights, or any concern for the well-being of people. But it's a plain terrorism that goes beyond what is known as a colonialism. What you did in the Middle East, and that's why I don't support, I would be crazy if I would support invasion on Iran. It makes no fucking sense. I would cover myself with the same colors as you yourself have done it. It's nothing other than this armada that they had to destroy Iran. It's nothing other than a bunch of pro-Jewish extremists who are psychologically pre-evaluated. You might not know, folks, there has been reported 3 fighter jets that have collided, that were shut down by the Kuwait. I don't know, 3 F-16 shut down Kuwait. I have to tell you something. This is the news that traces back to 2012, 2013, when American troops started with Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and so on. They started to prepare themselves for the coming invasion on Iran. The 3 fighter jets during MKUltra have collided exactly in an area which they demonstrated next to those network towers in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. Those military practices that United States of America led beginning in 2013, probably, or 2012, went on for like 3 years. Remember when I said on the Außer Times news site, basically on my blog, when I stated that it was Zelensky who was even asking them if they were able to take the Iran down? They were actually practicing mutually, were preparing 3 years militarily for the coming assault on Iran. Not everything that you see, even that pertains to the incidents that they involve fighter jets, not everything you see in the media is as it is. The Russians did the same thing when they assaulted Ukraine. They had fighter jets. They reported that they fell down due to friendly fire, accident, this and that. That incidents that already occurred before the war on Ukraine even started in 2022. Or I should say restarted, because they started in 2014. So, don't fucking teach me about what's going on, who is, where is, what is going on, why you did this, how you did this. When you have a website, it's called Außer Times, where you can go and you can read and you can understand absolutely everything about it. There is no mystery about it. All you can do today is you can continue to pretend that you know nothing, that you hear nothing, that you don't know nothing about what goes on. But that's all you can do. Other than that, I did such a job that everybody can see about what goes on, what is actually happening, what is going on, who started the war, how the war started, why we are where we are at. And frankly, you politicians don't give a fuck about what goes on because you are paid based on dividing public opinion. You're paid to lie. You're paid to get the lie going. You're paid to get the lie going. And as the lie goes, you're paid to see nothing, to hear nothing, and to do whatever it takes at United Nations, European Court for Human Rights, Brussels, I should say European Parliament in Brussels, block any attempt of those who might have witnessed the crime, for the truth about the crime to come out. Myself, nobody more than myself who was witness to all this stuff. So this is the first comment that I gave her. This was the initial comment that I gave her. Do not fucking act like you don't know about what goes on. That you know something. That you're taking a justice position. That you are just. That you are and so on. When all of you know no politician is just here. There's no politician that is innocent in this case. You were all working with one another. You were meeting inside of our house. You were working with one another. If this thing is going to be good to me enough, it is. I might actually show you even the second comment. But really, the third comment, the first comment that I gave you, that's actually really a comment that is, yeah, Ukraine Krieg. What you had to do is basically, yeah, it's unlawful attack on Ukraine, but she wants to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. And you know, when it comes to negotiations with Vladimir Putin, and foremost, I do not understand why anybody, let's say that you own a parcel. Why the fuck would you negotiate with a neighbor about your parcel? With a neighbor who went on and occupied portion of your parcel. Why the fuck would you negotiate? Now let's say this monkey brings out guns and start to shoot at your property and stuff, terrorizing you even more. Why the hell would you negotiate with a guy like this? You make no fucking sense with your justice, the way you see these things as. That's why it's important for people to see things as things are. And she keeps talking about the Merz, Friedrich Merz, blah, 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 blah. Just tell the truth as it is. Tell the truth as it is. There you go. Just tell the whole truth. Now, this is just the only thing I did was I placed the picture that I demonstrate you. And that's all there is. The rest of it is just copy paste from Google, as I demonstrated you here. That's all there is. There is nothing to. This is identical thing as Merz. She is just on the opposite side of the. It's like truly like bipolar, like polarized, completely opposite pole of Merz. No, I do not advocate Merz. I don't think that even Ukraine got the assistance that Ukraine needed. I am very, very, very certain that Ukraine, which is the country by far more important for existence of the Europe than, let's say, Portugal or Spain, or let's say Belgium, from where Ursula von der Leyen is, or let's say Switzerland, the whole pack of countries here in Europe. This is extremely important country, Ukraine. This is not the country that you want to negotiate you Europeans, you don't need to be Einstein to understand what Ukraine is. What kind of advantage does Ukraine provides for European Union, for the Europe as whole? Putin is not going to attack Europe through the Portugal and through the Spain. Putin is not going to parachute himself in a Switzerland or in a Belgium. But Europe, especially with the Crimea, it maintains, and it's by territorial, historical rights given to Ukrainian people, not only Black Sea, but has ability to foresee the Asian part. This is by far the most eastern part of Europe here. No, well, not really. I mean, that goes all the way to Ural. I understand that. I'm not crazy about statements like this. I'm not trying to talk stupid shit. But do you understand even the significance of this thing? Do you folks even understand the significance of this thing here, which is called Donetsk? This here is the city. It's a Russian city. It's now a Russian city. All this used to be Ukraine. It's known Rostov-on-Don. The people literally boiled the war together with Moscow, and are also enforcing Moscow policies against the Tatar people from Crimea and stuff like this. They imprisoned them and all kinds of stuff like that. Giving the Crimea, giving all this coastal line to the Russia, leaves Ukraine practically with nothing. It leaves Ukraine with a border, did you see right there, from more or less Mykolaiv all the way to Moldova right there, with nothing basically. And it gives Russia practically become owner of the Black Sea. This isn't about only Ukraine, this is also about the Black Sea. Turn your fucking brain on. And not to mention the minerals and all kinds of stuff. Definitely most fertile land on earth is that Donetsk region. It's unprecedented value. And you're gonna go, yeah, Putin is gonna give you the chance to massacre all this country, to flare all these countries for the sake of the greater Israel, which is said that for both of them, not only for Vladimir Zelensky, but also for Putin, to be two Russian Jews, both of them. This is a big deal. It shows, it defines whether the NATO, European Union, the United States of America are pro-democracy, or are they actually a mirror of the neo-Nazi Germany? And even bigger evil than the neo-Nazi Germany was the British Empire, the Belgian Empire. Read about what Belgians did in Africa. Read about the colonialism, what kind of pest that is, what kind of disease that is, what that disease did. It defines two issues which every fucking one of you members of the European Union, every fucking one of you members of the NATO will have to be responsible for, because you assume the policy of those that enforce genocide. You do not counteract. You do not oppose one. You agree. And therefore you be responsible for what's happening with the Palestinian people, which Palestine already disappeared practically from the map. With nothing else left than West Bank and these poor people in Gaza that are being killed, decimated, used as a target, live target for the practices of killing on a daily basis, practices of terrorism. But at the same time, you continue to lie through your mainstream media that it is Iran, the one that poses the threat to Israel and etc. and America. Donald Trump came with a theory that Iran is developing rockets which are going to be shot, obviously, through the hemisphere directly into America from Iran. That's how dangerous that is. That's how dangerous the Iran is. That's how dangerous Iran is. This is the newest theory of, it's even better than the one of George Bush, whose father was the one who had started the war on Iran, who came up with weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, that they were desperately searching for anything and they couldn't find anything. After complete annihilation of Iraq was finished, they couldn't even find those weapons. This is the politics, the Kushners, that we are witnessing to. Yeah, I understand Merz. Merz cried that for saying something like this, European, Ukrainian allies are not going to be entitled to any kind of support from United States of America, and etc., etc., etc. Well, the thing is that you folks are enforcing also something different, as I described on my blog, that pertains to me, of which none was yours. You're actually violating entire European Union Constitution, laws. You engage in genocide. You express support for killing European people that were previously subjected to genocide during the Soviet Union times, in Yugoslavia, as was my case. You continue to... The contract I was talking about, it can be best seen on myself, can be. The stuff that was done to me in Slovenia by Slovenes, and the stuff that, the distance that Americans have gone to accommodate Russians, Slovenes, Serbs, by hijacking me, delivering me back to Slovenia for more poisoning, for more torture, for more damage to be done. Yeah, under no circumstances are in any position to judge anybody on any kind of democracy under this kind of circumstances. It doesn't get worse. You guys are past neo-Nazism. You demonstrated the real face. You demonstrated the real face to the world through this thing here. You became a real image of a neo-Nazi Germany. This is not a democracy. This is not how European Union citizens, American citizens, get killed literally through the U.S. Justice Department of State, through the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, Federal Bureau Investigation, Ursula von der Leyen, members of the European Commission, which all were involved in MKUltra, European Court for Human Rights, corruption through United Nations. You guys are not a brightest example of democracy of any kind. And the world yet needs to come to agreement. It's coming to agreement now. Iran is not being left in the dark, despite your, as you refer to them, as successful bombing campaign of Iran. Iran is not being left in the dark. People started to understand on a mass scale globally who you actually are, what you actually want from the entire world. Once the Iran, I should say, this is going to be finished, because this is not a war on Iran, this is a war on Islam, on a Muslim community as whole. It's going to be yet another issue, and we already see what's happening across the Eastern Europe. You're moving from one target to another. One time it's this one, another time it's me, and so on and so forth. Till the people will unite in this, there'll be a problem for everybody. Today, we have Ukrainians and Iranis basically fighting each other rather than stick with one another. This was the biggest mistake that Iran did. This is why I said before I could go certain policies of Iran. It doesn't matter. You have to stick to the truth. You have to stick to what is right and what is wrong. You can't go and do stuff for which you know it's wrong because somebody said something or somebody whatever. You have to do what is right. Even as a country, even as a nation, you still have to do what is right. You have to be governed by the laws. The best law is when you do whatever is the right thing for you to do. Sad story, this stuff here. This is an extremely, extremely sad story. People being killed on a daily basis. I heard Jews used 1,000 bullets to take, just 2 days ago, to take entire medical team out. They are fucking sprayed journalists with bullets and rescuers. Medical crew that go out there to rescue people. This is what's going on in Gaza. It's a concentration camp on open that is used for practicing on a live targets. And you want to fucking talk to me about some kind of democracy when not too long ago, talking at Donald Trump, you were discussing the issue of killing the so-called Hamas, claiming that Hamas is killing their own people. You gonna talk about the Hamas? You, Donald Trump? Replacement of a neo-Nazi Germany. That's all you became. You just became a replacement of a neo-Nazi Germany. That's all there is. That's a role that you assumed. Americans. I don't have anything else I would say to you other than thanks for watching this video. And like I said, all you had to do is change the seat with Friedrich Merz, and your obligation toward the 9/11 contract, Twin Towers bombing, toward 1999 Moscow bombing is fulfilled. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Now I'm gonna twist this thing on.
Nie hat ein deutscher Bundeskanzler so offen das Völkerrecht für belanglos erklärt wie unser Kanzler Gernegroß.
Völkerrechtliche Einordnungen werden dabei relativ wenig bewirken. Deshalb ist jetzt nicht der Moment, unsere Partner und Verbündeten zu belehren. Bei allen Zweifeln teilen wir viele ihrer Ziele, ohne selbst imstande zu sein, sie auch tatsächlich zu erreichen.
Da fällt einem doch echt nichts mehr ein. Klar doch, ist echt schon.
For more lies, I invite you to her profile. Now when you know the truth, and enjoy if you're interested in listening to those lies. And I will also thank Sahra Wageknecht for doing exactly something extremely beneficial for me. It's actually, I managed to prove that all you had to do is actually switch the seats, and that's all there is to it. Both, actually. To Merz and to the Sahra Wageknecht. To both of you, I thank you very much to make pictures so much clearer, so much easier for people to see throughout the world about what goes on. That's all there is. With this, I'm going to say thank you very much to you. This shit concerns every European in a big way, and every American, because your rights, you wrote it. They always use one example, and then through that example what they do is they erode entire society. You might say, oh, that's only one person, and he was involved in this and that, and so all kinds of operations, military espionage operations and stuff like this. But you know, the bottom line is, if you work for the MI5, or you work for the CIA, or you work for Bandé, whatever is the hell that you work in intelligence or police, or do you want this type of view on you to be seen like a Olympic, I don't even know, when you peel off the apple and you have those excessive peels that you did. What is this? I mean, what kind of democracy? What kind of law and order? What kind of loyalty? What kind of patriotism? And what kind of democracy is this? Then, as well as mine, put SS on your uniforms is going to make more sense. People will at least understand exactly what they're dealing with, and finally, when your turn comes, when you get fucked, you too will understand what your, in a parenthesis, rights are, what is expected of you. They took down the whole world with it. I cannot agree with any of the stuff that's going on. Just so that you know, it's me right here. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that picture... I really want to thank Sahra Wageknecht for this. I really want to thank Friedrich Merz for this. It might be a bit awkward, but you guys made it so much easier for the world to understand. All you had to do is switch the seats, and agreement of 9/11 Twin Towers 1999 Moscow bombing is fulfilled. That's all you got to do. You're not profiting anything through this kind of democracy, through this kind of ways. You got yourself into cahoots. You got yourself into something that the world is studying, the world is seeing. You know, you made agreements with Illuminatis and stuff like this in the background, but, you know, I provided the world with the truth. The truth is, usually when people see the truth, when people start to understand what's going on, it's the one that prevails. Eventually it's going to cost you. On a long run, this is wreck. You are practically, what you represent is a neo-Nazi alternative to Vladimir Putin, who, by the way, is, I don't need to say anything, part of this, not part of it, but a big part of it. A big part of it. They always, it's like I always told you, they always negotiate with the bigger. In the circle of Illuminati people, it's always the biggest one that collects the profit from these meetings, interactions, and so on. It's a sad world. In fact, it's a sad world. It's sad for me because I always fought for the European Union, for the NATO, etc. As you know, I promoted. I bragged about how I smashed the Soviet Union down and this and that. What the fuck? Today, it makes me wonder. It's 35 years, 36 years upon fall of the Soviet Union. What exactly was this shit all about? What exactly was this British, American, German shit all about? You went on to finish, basically, what the Soviets, Serbs, Slovenes started here in a greater Serbian Chetnik state known as Yugoslavia. You turned my life into eventually being even labeled as mentally ill in 2012. What kind of fucking democracy? What kind of European Union and NATO and Court for Human Rights and I don't know. What are you talking about? This case is coming out. There is absolutely no doubt about it. It will be a sad day for you. Yeah. Not a good stuff. You bragged about all kinds of issues, and by the way, what you did is incredible. You betrayed the entire legacy of people. People whom you claim they are innocent, that went to war, to fight during the World War II, all the sites and everything. Now what you did with these people, you completely trashed them. You totally, all your principles, everything that you threw them under the train, right on the rail tracks. This is a part that actually hurts, because these people, it's like they never fucking existed. Like, there were no victims of the regimes with what you're doing, because the stuff that you did with me, this is just bizarre. It's a bizarre stuff. Now you're doing it on a grand scale. Like I said, you start with one person and it goes on, it gets bigger and bigger, with more groups of people involved in it that suffer within the regimes, and finally the wars and so on. Thanks for getting a bit smarter today. Now I'm gonna say thanks for watching the video. Fuck that. You have to thank me for that. I never asked you to subscribe. I don't care. Oh shit. Just when you already think that you did the stuff, and it comes to you the stuff that you forgot to mention, and it feels like somebody just splashes you, give you like a good slap. That's why I like to say this word, shit. Hey, I totally forgot about this stuff here. Sahra Wageknecht even stated to me during MK Ultra that she will do as good for Ukraine as much as I will do a good for Iran. Or maybe she thought about Palestine. Iran definitely did. I should say maybe she also thought about Palestine. I have no fucking idea. What an interesting part about it is they were Germans, therefore deliver me one time to her, another time to Merz, and Friedrich Merz stated me during MK Ultra that she is absolutely correct. Therefore, Friedrich Merz give her a 100% support. Friedrich Merz is going to have to advocate himself. That's what he did inside of the car. They delivered me into his car, and he told me this stuff inside of the car, that he will absolutely support her if I will not view her way. I have no fucking idea what the lady view is, what the lady understood, but the two are going to have to explain these issues. This was involved in MK Ultra. These people are not quite good. It's not everything. They are not completely, I mean, you can't be doing stuff like this. One thing is MK Ultra, which is it's a procedure based on a torture, bestiality performed on a subject, practically. And then it's something completely different when it comes to reality. Oh, man.
Let me demonstrate you.
Nothing demonstrate you. Now I gotta do is, I uploaded this shit, and I got to upload this shit again. So basically finishing this video, and then what I have to do is attach this portion of the video to the video where I didn't even want to thank people for watching this video. But yeah, one thing is good about this duo. It's exactly the truth. This issue here was involved in MK Ultra, this switching the chairs. All you have to do is basically switch the chairs. That's exactly what we have going on. So yeah, I know Donald Trump is going to immediately come with the conspiracy theories and that kind of stuff. Oh, well, what is this? I did something? I didn't even touch anything, and it just changed into Google this, Google that. No, why? You can Google if you want. Alright, folks, thank you very much. This is also very important stuff here. The two are gonna have to advocate themselves for this. I didn't do this for the love of them. Definitely I do not do this. I don't love Merz that much. I lambasted Merz severely on my blog already. I didn't touch Sahra Wageknecht yet, and I see no need for doing that stuff. The lady is driving back and forth in Berlin. She got a chauffeur, and she has a comfortable job in the back of the seat. I will not go into that part. That actually made me miserable. They did this when I was hospitalized inside of the psychiatric hospital in Ljubljana, Poland. I don't like one or the other. I don't like either one of the two. You're a classic Germans. You have no fucking human conscience, and you are two parasites. I changed my mind. I don't like you. You will hear from me, and when you hear from me, it's going to be too late for you, scum. I don't like either one of you. Merz saw in me animal, and she saw in me animal, which basically was a classic approach of the Germans to MK Ultra. Not a regular people, no. It was people, also good people involved in it. Not everybody, I should say. But when it comes to the politicians, well, you have a special way to lie. You like to lie. You have a special way that I do not embrace when it comes to me personally. You understand what you did, and you will be held responsible for this shit. Now let me give you a little postcard. You will hear from me, and it won't be good for you. You did the bad stuff. That's what we are here for. And I will thank you. I will thank you for reminding me also of this.